Hi friends, my name is Dr. Rajesh Shah. I am a medically trained homeopathic physician in clinical practice for last 35 years, and I am also involved in scientific research in homeopathy since over 2 decades. Friends, Covid-19 or the coronavirus infection has inflicted the world since around December 2019, and so far some 3.6 million people have been infected with 256,000 deaths across the world. In India, we have around 50,000 patients infected with this infection and around 1,700 deaths so far. And as you know, these numbers have been exponentially increasing day by day. Friends, the reality as on today is that that is 7th of May 2020, there is no short treatment or prevention for COVID-19 infection. Some empirical medicines such as SCQ or anti-HIV medicines or plasma therapy have been tried and tested with limited success. At this point, it is very important for all of us to think of alternatives which could possibly help, especially when the vaccine is expected maybe after 1 year. That also it may have limited success. So, friends, I would like you to be introduced to homeopathy as an option, as a hope to manage this infection in terms of treatment as well as the prevention. And I'll try to give you and share with you in this presentation some of the scientific studies and documentation that we have suggesting that homeopathy has a great potential as antiviral therapy, as anti-germ therapy, antimicrobial therapy, and which may be used very efficiently in the management of this pandemic that we all are struggling with. With this background, I would like you to get introduced to homeopathy. Homeopathy is the second most popular system of medicine in the world as per the WHO, which originated in the year 1796 in Germany, and it became popular across the world. It has been in practice in almost 100 countries as on today. It is very popular amongst elite people like industrialists, scientists, diplomats, ministers, politicians, artists, sports stars, Bollywood stars, Hollywood stars, and so on and so forth, as well as the common man in many parts of the world. Interestingly, homeopathy became extremely popular in the early part of the last century, especially because of its success in certain epidemics and pandemics. Some epidemics and pandemics in Europe, especially of cholera, yellow fever, typhus, flus, influenza, etc., had great success with homeopathy in those years, and that's how it became very popular. In this talk today, I'm going to share with you how homeopathy has already demonstrated antibacterial, antiviral, anti microbial properties and efficacy in various scientific models. We'll talk about number one, how it has helped in some of the pandemics and epidemics in the past. We'll talk about how homeopathy has been shown to be effective in animal models. We'll talk about how it has shown efficacy against laboratory models like cell line models. We'll talk about how it has been found effective in human models or human trials. These 4 or 5 major components that we'll try to touch in this talk all will be supported with scientific peer-reviewed publications in international journals or scientific documentation. So, number one, homeopathy in pandemics and epidemics. One of the biggest experiences was with Spanish flu, which inflicted the world in 1900 and 1920. That was around 100 years back, in which it estimated 20 million people died in the world, which included around 15 to 16 million people in India. Around half a million people died in the US with the Spanish flu. In one of the anecdotal studies that is documented, which says that those people who were given homeopathic medicine gelsemium had a mortality rate of around 1 to 2% versus another large group which did not receive homeopathic medicine, which had a mortality rate was as high as 28 to 30%. Now this was remarkable global experience that is documented with as showing the antiviral antimicrobial efficacy of homeopathy in pandemics. Two, in a chikungunya infection study, there was a clustered randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial using a homeopathic medicine called bryonia, which prevented chikungunya up to 20% less as compared to the untreated patients. This was a good study again. There was a third study which was very interesting after the Second World War, where there was a chemical injury with mustard gas in London and in Glasgow, and that was treated by using potentized mustard gas, and that brought in very good results with intensity potency, because those who were treated with homeopathy did not have those skin blisters which this poisonous gas was producing otherwise. There was an influenza epidemic in the US in Dayton, Ohio State in 1918, in which 26,000 patients who were treated with homeopathy had a very low mortality rate of 1.05% versus 28% in another group which was not treated with homeopathy. This was the sample size was around 28,000 people who were treated, which shows significant finding. Oscillococcinum is another homeopathic nosode developed by one French company, and that has shown antiviral, anti-influenza properties in a large study that they conducted. Influenza and acute respiratory infections treated in Brazil in a large double-blind placebo-controlled study, in which it was shown that homeopathic medicines used had much less significant symptoms in the cases, especially children who suffered with influenza virus. In one another very interesting study related to leptospirosis in Cuba, in 2007-2008, 90% of the entire population of Cuba had were treated with homeopathic medicine, and there was 86% decrease in the incidence of leptospirosis in the homeopathically treated group, which is again a very large study countrywide. About dengue, there are several studies. One of them is a study done in Brazil in 2001, where the single homeopathic medicine called Eupatorium in 30 potency had given 40% residents, which were given to 40% of the population, and had very low incidence of developing dengue after using the homeopathic medicine in that particular arm. Again in 2007, 156,000 doses of homeopathic medicine were distributed in Brazil, and that has shown significant recovery in the cases of dengue in Brazil. So in Brazil and Cuba, in several epidemics, homeopathic medicines have been used often and have shown substantial benefits. Now we'll talk about the efficacy of homeopathic medicine and the scientific evidence in the animal model. Many people believe that homeopathy gives subjective benefits in some people and there is no adequate laboratory models, which is not true. In fact, one of the studies in Japanese encephalitis, where homeopathic medicines given to mice infected with Japanese encephalitis have shown excellent results, proving that homeopathy medicines have antiviral properties. In yet another study with the Trypanosoma cruzi parasite infection in animal model, one patented medicine has shown definite anti-parasite efficacy in the animal model. A very interesting study done by a group of scientists in Brazil in leishmaniasis. There is another parasite-based infection in which they have shown that homeopathic medicines have anti-leishmaniasis properties in the animal model. Malaria is a huge global challenge, and several studies have been done even in India which have shown that homeopathic medicines like common medicines like China officinalis or the nosode have shown anti-malarial activities in the mice model. Yet, in another study of influenza in animal model, a study by some of the scientists in Brazil have shown that there was a significant recovery and improvement in the changes in T and B cells after using one of the medicines called influenzin, a nosode, as well as thymulin. These two medicines, like nosodes, have brought in good results in animal model. Yet, in another study with the H. pylori infection in animal model, homeopathic medicines have shown benefits with the H. pylori nosode. This is all about animal study and homeopathic benefits. One of the studies done in piglets in animals have shown that homeopathic medicines prepared from E. coli organisms have anti-E. coli properties, and it reduced the frequency and the severity of diarrhea in piglets. Some people often question that, okay, are there some cell line or laboratory models in which homeopathy has shown any efficacy? Yes, some of the studies that I will mention here about antimicrobial efficacy of homeopathy in the laboratory models, such as cell line studies. So one of the studies is influenza study, in which in some of the cell lines, influenza related homeopathic medicines, the nosode, have shown definite changes which are indicating antiviral potential of the homeopathic medicine. Yet in another study which was conducted by my team of scientists in Mumbai, where we have demonstrated that a nosode prepared from Plasmodium falciparum organisms, the parasites, have shown anti-malarial potential in a cell line model in the laboratory. Similarly, in our series of other studies based on some of the nosodes, of which the papers are not yet published, they are under review, where we have demonstrated anti-E. coli properties, anti-Plasmodia falciparum properties, anti-Klebsiella pneumonia properties, anti-Candida properties, as well as anti-Salmonella properties. These are all studies done in the cell line models in the laboratory, which have over and again repeatedly demonstrated that homeopathic medicines have antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, and antiparasitic and antifungal effects also in the cell line models or the laboratory models. Now let us come to human models to see whether homeopathic medicines have shown any antimicrobial effects in humans. Well, in one of our own studies with HIV infected patients, we have demonstrated that the homeopathic medicines prepared from HIV virus, a nosode, has reduced the viral load or viral count in an observation study in HIV infected patients. Not only that, it has also increased the CD4 count, which is the fighter cells in the same study. That is showing that homeopathic nosode from HIV virus has anti-HIV potential. Yet in another study done by CCRH under the Government of India, Ministry of Ayush, have shown that homeopathic medicines have anti-tuberculosis potential when the medicines were used in adjuvant with the conventional or allopathic medicines, and they demonstrated that the groups which received homeopathic medicine as well had faster and quicker recovery as compared to the group which received only the conventional anti-tuberculosis treatment. In yet another study in human model, we had a study with hepatitis C infected patients where we gave hepatitis C nosode in an observational study in 30 infected patients, where we could demonstrate that homeopathically treated patients had decreased viral load of hepatitis C, which is a very serious and very severe infection. That again has demonstrated the antiviral potential of homeopathic nosodes especially. So friends, in this small communication we have seen that homeopathic medicines of wide range, including the regular medicines as well as a category of medicines called nosodes, have time and again demonstrated antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic as well as antifungal properties. And we also have seen that these effects have been shown on human models, in animal models, in cell line models, as well as there has been the clinical experience in several epidemics of various diseases across the world, as well as one pandemic that we had in the last century. Now, this set of information is exciting enough for any scientifically trained medical researcher, because we have enough clues now to explore the potential and examine the efficacy of some other medicines, as well as to develop some new medicines which could help the corona infection, that for which we have been struggling for last almost 5 to 6 months. The entire world is struggling to find a solution. We do not have anything in hand, but this ray of hope in homeopathy has fantastic potential, and we must take this up rigorously by all means. And I believe the government of India, as well as the governments of other countries in the world, must wake up to this opportunity that is there before us. And the scientific evidence already created by several scientists are enough for us to take this to the next level and have a adequate exploration in this area. I sincerely thank everybody for watching this video. If you like this video, please do share with people who are interested in exploring the new opportunities, as well as the options that we have before us for the challenging killer infection that we have been struggling with. Thank you very much.